Hello, my name's Andrew Gadd. So what I want to discuss before you put any money down or put any money forward for these videos is about the treatment of cancer and about using healing, and just to get your expectations there as to whether or not you want to undertake the videos and spend any money. So with cancer, can healing cure cancer? And I believe that the mind and the thought does have power to cure cancer. Saying that, it doesn't mean that any single person with a particular type of cancer could cure it with their mind. So I'm not selling these meditations as a cure for cancer. While I'm still producing these meditation or visualizations, these videos, while I'm producing them to take on cancer, with the belief that when I do them that they can actually contribute to fighting cancer, I'm not selling them as that. What I am selling them as is something that will help with the signs and the symptoms of your cancer, to help that. If it doesn't help, then you stop your subscription and you don't do any more. Simple as that. But a sign is anything visual, so it could be inflammation, redness of the skin, rashes, it could be joint disfigurement, it could be lumps and bumps and whatever else that you can physically see. A symptom is something you feel, so that could be pain, soreness, sickness. So this is why I'm going to produce these videos, these visualizations within these videos, to help with the symptoms. If they help to tackle the cancer, then they help to tackle the cancer, even though they are designed to help tackle the cancer and fight or reduce the symptoms as much as possible. So a Buddhist monk that I'd heard about, they was diagnosed with cancer. It's a silent disease, isn't it? The silent killer, they call it, because it doesn't cause a lot of symptoms and a lot of signs until it's got quite large. Now we know that people can go in remission from cancers. We don't know how many, because what we don't know is how many people get cancer and go in remission before it's ever diagnosed. We don't know that. We could be getting cancer on a weekly, monthly basis, a few cells here and there, a few hundred or a few thousand cells. The body deals with it. It never progresses to become anything. And there's reasons why I believe that that's very much true, and I'll explain that later. But with this Buddhist monk, he was diagnosed with cancer, and he did lots of meditations, lots of visualizations, lots of self-healing, and he was supposedly went into remission and treated the cancer, cured the cancer. If anyone is ever going to be able to do it through mind alone and through thought, then it's going to have to be a Buddhist monk, isn't it? Because they've not only got the experience of concentrating their thoughts in one particular area, focusing their mind to that much detail, that much concentration, but also got the time to do it. Because a lot of people get diagnosed with cancer, they're still trying to work, they're still trying to look after family, they're still trying to look after their parents maybe, or there's always someone that's very busy. They're busy going to the hospitals, they're busy doing things. We haven't all got 24 hours a day just to meditate. So if anyone's going to be able to do it, I would expect a Buddhist monk to be able to do it. And I think that, going off to a Buddhist temple for 6 months with a diagnosis of cancer wouldn't be a bad thing, but most of us would be totally impractical and wouldn't be able to do it. With people going into remission, I believe with childhood leukemia, I know someone who I believe had the chronic form of childhood leukemia, a form of childhood one, and I believe they had a chronic form from probably the age of 2 or 3. There was a few signs, when you look back, there was a few signs. There was sometimes excessive bruising that, when I was out playing, it just come. Couldn't really explain why it was so bruised. But the children bruise. but some of it was, sometimes you thought, well, that's quite a bit of bruising. And my grandfather, when he was alive, my granddad, he turned around and after she was diagnosed later on and said, well, she did look very pale. They always thought that she didn't look 100% at times, that she looked pale. And of course these are signs and symptoms of a childhood leukemia. I believe it was in a chronic form, and so it didn't show a lot of symptoms, so it was silently there from about the age of 2 to the age of 9. At 9, hormonally, it was triggered into more of an acute phase. It became an acute childhood leukemia, and then it was diagnosed. And it was a monthly cycle when she felt ill. 3 months of these cycles of her being ill, it was diagnosed with a simple blood test, and you know, life changed for the family. But the fact that it was in a chronic form, I still believe it was in a chronic form, and that may be with a lot of cancers, that they may be there dormantly in a chronic form before they become acute. And maybe there are people out there that have cancers that the body just gets rid of before we ever know about it, before it's ever diagnosed. And maybe it comes back later in life, and then eventually it gets, you know, maybe it gets worse and then shows symptoms and signs and gets diagnosed. So the power of thought to cure cancer. With someone I'd heard about, they had hypnotherapy and they were told they were going to be touched by something that was hot, and through hypnosis they were basically told that it was going to be hot, and it wasn't actually hot, but when they touched the skin still blistered. So their thoughts blistered the skin, their reaction to the heat, their mind, or the thought reaction. So the blistering of the skin was not caused by heat, and it wasn't caused by the cold, it was caused by the thought process of them believing they've now been burnt. So if you can cause blistering and an inflammatory response, cancer cells cannot survive a full-on inflammatory response. No cells in the body can survive a full-on inflammatory response. It starves the body of oxygen. Cancers, they take more nutrients and more oxygen to grow faster than the cells around them. So they want more energy. So if we can do energy healing, that tries to block that energy. So we're not sending necessarily an energy to the cancer, as more we're trying to suppress the energy going to the cancer. And if you can do that, if you can make your skin blister through thought, then can you make the cancer blister through thought? And this is where the meditations, the first few meditations I'm going to do is based on also looking at the signs and symptoms. And a symptom of cancer is pain, when people are quite ill and quite painful. So I want to do some that are directed to ease the pain, but also are still sending more an attack message to the cancer, but in a non-aggressive way to some extent, because you don't want to send it negative energy. You don't want to send it energy that's going to feed on it. There's emotional elements that may encourage certain cancers. They encourage certain hormones. And certain hormones we know encourage certain cancers. So again, you can't blame yourself if you've got cancer because, oh, I'm always panicking and this is why I got my cancer. We do know that people who are very stressed and very anxious all the time are prone to infections and more illnesses because the immune system's more suppressed. But don't start blaming yourself on that. If you've got the cancer, it's no one's fault now. It's no good blaming anyone on this. Not yourself and not anything else. And there's going to be, with any cancer, there's going to be contributing factors to why that cancer's there. And the contributing, it's not going to be one cause necessarily. It could be an infection on top of a suppressed immune system, on top of genetical disposition for that particular type of cancer. If it's a breast cancer, it could be also the time, the age of you. There's lots of contributing factors. So when I look at an illness like cancer, I look at all the different things that have built up for that to manifest. So if you can start breaking away some of them things that build it up, then you can weaken it. Now, it's important to understand this is complementary therapies. This is an alternative therapy. This is a holistic approach. It's complementary. It's important to not use this as an alternative to your present treatment. Because if the cancer is growing and you're having medication to reduce the size of the cancer, you're having chemotherapy, you're having radiotherapy, you're having other treatments to try to suppress the cancer, it may not be working. You may only be suppressing the cancer by 3 or 4% or 5%. If these meditations can help to increase that, maybe then you're suppressing it by 10, 15%. Maybe you're compressing it. It complements that. And if you can complement that, so the more you can put into suppressing that cancer growth, the better the chance that the treatments that you're presently on, the conventional treatments, the chemotherapy, could work. So this must be seen as complementary to what you're already receiving, and certainly not an alternative. So over the next few months I will bring in different meditations. I'll put another meditation on there at least once a month, and again I'll be working and concentrating on the pain relief and looking at the stress elements of having cancer, the depression that comes with it, the anxiety that comes with it, to deal with this depression and anxiety that's definitely going to be following you if you've got a cancer diagnosis. And hopefully you'll consider the small subscription a month is worth the effort. The reason I want to charge for this particular course is I want to put my time and energy into it. The more I earn from it, the more time and energy I can put into it, because I cannot afford to not work, and I can't afford to do it for free because no one's going to be paying my bills. So I have to charge on this course. I'm trying to charge as minimal as I can, but that monthly subscription will allow me the time to put back in to it, to create the meditations, to think about it. It takes a while for me to sort of process exactly what I want to do on a meditation or visualization, positive thought. It's not something you just suddenly wake up in the morning with. You're sort of looking into more depth and into the benefits that it may have. So hopefully you will give it a go. Whether you believe that thought alone can actually do anything, well, that's down to you. But what you have to understand is how powerful the mind is, and how powerful it could help to weaken the illness to your advantage. It's not necessarily going to cure it. It may treat it to an extent, but it may help the conventional therapies become a little bit more effective, by just a few percent maybe, by maybe a lot more. But I'm afraid, I can't promise anything, and I wish I could. It'd be great to be able to touch you and you're healed. That's just not what it's about. It's just not going to happen. Thank you.